So we figured out, that Melbourne, Australia, is very fast paced.
Very
You
much
then
so.
experienced your most negative year, which is 2011, and just trying to get used to it and get the ball rolling. It was a bit hard, a slow start, and then we get to positives. What was the positives you witnessed here?
I took the positive out of the negative, to
Okay,
be
that's
honest with
good.
you.
Yeah,
Because I didn't feel there was a level of racism in this country. I don't like to look at things like that. But I felt that it wasn't very homely. Because Australia is very independent, the culture is very independent. And I found that, when I mixed and mingled with people that were 18, 19, 20, around my age group when I came here, they were very independent in a sense where they were already living on their own, working full-time jobs, etc. And like in South Africa, it's very cultured. You wouldn't necessarily move out of your home if you didn't have the financial backing.
Yeah.
You'd still be living with your folks,
Yeah.
or in a granny flat or something like
Yeah,
that. So over here, I felt that it's so independent, and I'm like, wow, I need to pull my socks up and jump on the bandwagon in a sense where I need to be working and ticking boxes every day. Basically, I can't be static or slow in terms of maybe I'll just study full time and then maybe work part time like 2-3 days a week and then see what happens next month, how I feel, etc. Because over here, if you get left behind, it's very scary. Financially, you got no one to depend on.
Yeah.
If you call back home, the money transfer takes about 3 days. Why that electronic transfer? So it's like all these factors fell into place, and you just have to realize that you're a one-man army over here. You can't just
Yeah.
wave your hands around and wonder like, hey, is a ship gonna sink or am I gonna swim? So it's like you just realize that the work ethic, that's the positive that I'll get out of it. It will teach you to be independent. It will
Yeah.
teach you to appreciate society and the people around you, not to take anything for granted. So as much as it felt as a negative in my first year, seeing that, I don't really know, like maybe this is too fast for me. I'm just 18, I don't know much. I'm trying to have fun, but my financial backing doesn't really complement anything.
Yeah.
But then you start to realize and say, you know what, with a bit of hard work and you reap the benefits at the end, you can appreciate life afterwards because you got the basics right. And these were all life lessons, bro. All life lessons from like 18 to where I am now. And that's what I'm teaching kids in this career that I have.
Yeah. That's so fascinating, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing that, you are looking at the negatives and finding positives out of it and realizing that, shit, I have no other option.
You have to, because let me
Yeah.
ask you this question. Maybe it's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But if you're going to sit back, right, and you're going to cry a river, I'm being quite honest with you, and you're going to sit at home and you got bills that's coming up in the next
Yeah.
month. Who is going to possibly help you? I'm being completely
Yeah.
honest. Who will help you? The authorities can't help you. The government can't help you, right? Because there isn't really financial backing put in place for
Yeah.
international students. And at the same time, we chose to come to this country.
Yeah.
The country didn't ask us
Yeah.
to come. We
Yeah.
chose because we want to try and make
Yeah.
a better life for ourselves. So we gotta take. It's like you gotta bite the bullet.
Yeah.
You gotta realize reality.
Okay, I love the work ethic. That's
Yeah.
another thing that is a big difference from what you're saying and what it was like back home and
Very
than
much
it is
so.
here.
Oh,
So
very
let's
much
talk about working here. So you finally, because you have to pay your bills somehow, so you had to get a job. What was the first job you got, or what was the most memorable job that you had that you enjoyed that helped you mold to the person you are today?
I think it will be a string of jobs to be
Okay.
honest with you, because it's always been hospitality,
Yeah.
right? And I started off as a kitchen hand, started off as a bussy, then I went into bar backing. It's like bar backing will be basically, for those that know the hospitality scene, they'll know it's like an acquired taste, but it's basically the dude standing in the background that would stock fridges, pour your ice, make sure glasses are shined, put into
Yeah.
place, and every now and then pour the odd drink if the bartenders are under pressure.
Yeah.
You'll still have your liquor, your RSA, etc.
Yeah.
Responsible service of alcohol. But I did that, and then eventually, as the years went by, I got a shot at being a bartender. But I took that job because I really, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love a bit of beer, a bit
Yeah.
of wine, a bit of
Yeah.
socializing, etc. And the hospitality scene was very fast paced,
Yeah.
but it was very loose. It was very casual.
Yeah.
So it catered for that lifestyle. And I could have the best of both worlds, where I'll be working in the bar and still be able to party afterwards because
Yeah.
it was in that same scene.
Yeah.
So I did that, but definitely those sorts of jobs, working for almost minimum pay. I'd say I started off at like maybe $18 an hour, 19, 20. Eventually worked my way up. But those late nights or finishing early in the morning, going home, finding a balance between sleeping, if I did get enough sleep, and then going and hitting the books again, and then going to uni. That definitely molded me to realize, you know what, you have to commit,
Yeah.
because there's no other way. Because you can't be working in other industries because you're a youngster with no experience.
Yeah.
You're an international student. So yes, I was fortunate enough for my folks to give me a lot of money, and they helped me out to a certain extent, but it's not going to cover everything.
Yeah.
But those long nights, those grueling nights, as much as you're having a bit of fun, it really made you realize that, you know what, this is work that you're putting in. And the hospitality, like I said, is a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah.
Hospitality scene, for sure. Especially with COVID, when it hit, like a lot of people were
Yeah.
struggling.
Um,
But I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hospitality is a love-hate relationship.
I love that because, you know, even before when we were
Yeah.
talking about how, you know, you being a people person,
Yeah.
that would have been, you know, such a good job to work at.
Bartending, for sure.
for sure. I'm
Yeah.
assuming just because, you know, when we first met, we
Yeah.
were really, I'm the same. I talk to anyone. You know, I like talking to people. That's the reason why I host a show.
A lot of nights, excuse me, a lot of nights serving drinks, talking to like complete strangers that will confide in you and open up and talk about their domestic problems, etc.
Yeah.
Over 1, 2, 3 drinks. Maybe you'll give them the fourth one for free because you feel a bit sorry, etc.
Yeah.
But like just building that rapport, and then they become regulars. It basically molds you into a poor man's counselor.
Yeah.
There you go, 100%.
I love that. And that's, you know,
with no
what-
education.
Yeah.
But you'll have. But I'm telling you now, a drunk man's words is a sober man's thoughts. 100%. You can keep that line for you. Take it. It's for free, my man. I promise you.
Say that
now.
again.
A drunk man's words is a poor man's thoughts.
Yeah, right.
Is a sober man's thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because a sober man wouldn't necessarily open up.
Yeah.
But once you have a few drinks, you'll start and
Yeah.
open a can of worms
Yeah.
or spill the beans. Yeah.
Man, I love that.
Yeah.
And let's talk about counseling because that's what
Yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm glad that, you know, you found something you loved and you didn't, I'm assuming you enjoyed just sitting down and listening to what they had to say. You know, that would have been, you know, fun for you as a people
Patience.
person. Yeah, patience.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So from that to what you're doing now, what are you doing now? And what are you doing now? Let's start off there.
So when I first started off, I was doing my my diploma and advanced diploma in music production, sound production. That was out in SAE and RMIT. And then I ventured into events management and marketing. That was my bachelor's at La Trobe. So, and then after that, I did my bachelor's in social science and psychology. I majored in psychology. That was my undergrad. And then I did my master's in counseling. And now I'm doing my PhD in health sciences. I'm focusing on rebuilding wellness amongst Australian families during COVID-19. Now, if you look at that string of qualifications, I wanted to mold my music or my sound production with the entertainment scene and then incorporate therapy into it. So music therapy in the entertainment scene, that was the bigger picture. It took me about 9 years, but if you look back at when I spoke to you when I was in high school, that's the idea that I wanted to have. So I've finished off all of that now. I'm doing my PhD, but my experience in the working field, I've started off now with kids. Definitely. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You have to start, well, no, you don't have to, but that's my choice with that age bracket. Start with kids and then build your way up in the life cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is it and what's the involvement with the kids that you are doing now?
Right now, I'm working in residential as a residential support worker. So I'm down in the south side just working with kids that can't live with their parents or in foster care. So I work with them on a day-to-day basis, etc. So they'll be in home, either it's long-term or short-term living, and just do like therapeutic work, you know, just enhancing their ability to be a better person. So you can work with them like just building on like extramural activities, sticking with an education plan, and just hopefully building a structure so when they hit 18, they can be independent.
I love that. And
yeah. I did Childline for about a year in South Africa while I was back for the 2 years.
Yeah.
In 2017. That was volunteer work. I was doing play therapy, so that was good.
Yeah. What got you to want to do that in the first place? I know it started off in when you were a teenager, but what kind of got the ball on to have
Working with kids?
Yeah.
Oh, the kids thing is because because it's the start of the life cycle in my eyes. But my mother and I have a plan that once I've hit that age, I'm looking at 35. I'm 29 now. We want to open up a few orphanages back in South Africa. So
That's
mom
amazing.
coming from an education background, and then me obviously having the skills that I'm learning through residential support work. We want to open up orphanages because we feel, or I feel, that in my time spent with Childline in South Africa, the structure ends somewhere, but there was very little resources given. So if we have this model that we can do, and then I spoke to mom and we can have a sort of idea in terms of an education plan, there can be some sort of justification as to a purpose for a child to have. So they can be living in an orphanage, but still have a purpose and know that they can be light at the end of the tunnel when they turn 18. Not just be at the orphanage, be fed, sheltered, and then 18 back on the streets. It's easier said than done, Bob, but I think if we have the right connections, which I think we do, in Durban, and then set the ball rolling and have a time frame, by the time 5 years hit, we'll know what to do in terms of structure and funding. But those are small things. So if I can do that on the sideline and still focus my job, getting into the entertainment scene, doing music therapy, etc., there's my two structures there. That's my goal. That's my goal.
How and what have you learned with working with the youth and the kids in Australia?
Far easier than South Africa because South Africa was a language barrier. There was Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, Ndebele, Afrikaans. I'm coming from an English-speaking background. That was hard. A lot of the rape cases with kids were coming from the rural areas, so there wouldn't necessarily be funding from their parents to bring them in for counseling sessions. Whereas over here in Australia, that was a handful of problems in South Africa.
Yeah.
But if you look at Australia, wow, the system here is not picture perfect, but there's so much opportunity here.
Yeah.
And it invigorates you. It gives you like that sense of drive. It really does.
Is there a lot of roles for people like you to do stuff like that with the kids?
A lot of work.
And other people that are
There's
doing...
a lot of Africans that's working in the industry. A lot.
I love that. And are the people that are working for them, are they getting the support that they need as well to continue putting in the effort to help these kids? Because, for an example, if we were African leaders and they want to target African kids, it's amazing that they're doing it. There is a lot of, free work and stuff like that. But you know how you're talking about the work ethic and the bills and the fast pace of life. Is there, are they looking after you financially as well? Or is there places where they do that to kind of help you continue
as a worker
to continue helping these kids? Because you can, do the best you can, but your ties do pop out after a while.
It can be harder. It can be testing. It's a test of your resilience and patience, to be honest with you. There can be like external factors that can be put into place that can help you, but it really is your own mission to find self-care.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
So like for me, for example, I'll meditate. I'll do a bit of fasting, so no alcohol, no meat. It helps my sleep patterns, the stress relief from work commitments. But because it's such an intense environment, before you get into the job, they will definitely question you and ask you, how's your level of self-care? What do you do to combat this, etc.? Time management skills and stuff like that. But the pay, the money can be good, but it's carrying that workload and knowing where to shut shop once you exit the working environment and go back home.
Yeah.
That's why like a lot of it comes down to what I said to you earlier. And it's so easy to say this, but if you have a plan of action to find yourself as a person and to know your strengths and weaknesses and creates a filter to know what information to take from the outside and bring it inside into your own personal life. If you know how to handle yourself through stresses and heartache, like all these things in daily routine, such as working, hanging out with friends, socializing, doing all these commitments, it helps. But it's about you finding your inner strength and being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. You as a person who's experienced with working with kids and who wants to do that, in the future as well, what's one thing you've realized that us, other people that are not as experienced with the youth, aren't doing for the youth or aren't understanding from them, that you are like, oh, wow, like this is something that we need to teach regular people to kind of...
But you learn every day on the job as well, huh?
But
because these...
What have you learned? Because you learn on the job and you've been there for a while. What have you learned that you could say, hey, from what I've gathered so far from working, there... This is what I've realized that we are lacking as people that don't have the skills and the knowledge that you have.
Yeah, To be honest with you, you learn how to understand
Okay.
generations on what makes them tick.
Yeah, right.
When I go back to talking about patience, when you talk to a certain individual, you're not going to demand an answer straight away. You'll ask a question, spend some time, and you'll wait. But just be observant on how their body is, their reactions,
Yeah.
and whether it's a fast turnaround or a slow turnaround. And it's about what they'll say to you. Is the answer short? Do they have a bit of self-esteem issues? Are they disciplined enough to hold a conversation with you? Are their mind drifting to somewhere else? Because a lot of them are facing trauma or faced a substantial amount of trauma and don't know where to go next. So it's about, it really teaches you the art of manipulation. I'm going to throw that in there because manipulation doesn't have to be negative. If you can learn the art of manipulation to change your words on convincing a youngster that there's light at the end of the tunnel, it just teaches you better on how to practice negotiation skills.
Yeah.
You know, all these small things helps. You know, like I wrote a paper called Effective Word Priming, and it's on how you will prime a word. So you can have a word and you can manipulate that word into being a positive word or a negative word. But it's how you throw it into context at the right time and place. And you find that with a lot of youngsters. Because a lot of youngsters, they're not going to sit and listen to an essay from you. They want something short and sweet and
Yeah.
go back to their activity or back to their room and eat or something like that.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to mince your words properly. And those skills that you learn with kids and the patience, etc., when you go into the working environment or into a normal society, into the CBD on a Saturday night, all these things come into play as well.
Yeah.
It teaches you patience. If a bouncer tells you no at the security door when you enter the club, you'll know how to show resilience and go somewhere else. Not to pick a fight, get arrested, and lose your working with children card.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that, and that's something that I'm starting to learn myself because I do have younger siblings, and just being patient and just realizing that maybe when I was your age, I was doing this, but the generation is different. It's a different world now. Even though my younger brother is 10 years younger than I am. I have to understand that 10 years ago was a lot different to what it is now.
Definitely.
A lot different.
Evolution.
It's ridiculous.
Globalization.
Yeah. Even I was like, holy shit.
This technology thing.
I
The
know.
technology thing with the kids on these chat groups and handling certain things. Even the way they articulate themselves.
Yeah.
Like everything, you think you know everything, but you don't.
Yeah.
I think I'm still stuck in my 20s, 29 or whatever. I still know. They can't pull the wool over my eyes.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
sitting with a 15-year-old that already just worked me and walked me. That's it. That's the end game. I gotta wait till tomorrow's shift until I can make amends.
Yeah.
It's hard.
What's
hard.
one thing you've realized with this kids these days that you're like, holy, what just happened in the past 10 years, whatever? What's one thing you've noticed with it? Is it just
The drive.
The drive, okay.
The level of freedom of speech and the level of freedom to do what they want, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The level of respect has gone downhill. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
here specifically or just with kids?
um
Let's say here, because
it would be wrong for me to judge South Africa because I spent such a short time
Yeah.
volunteering.
Yeah, right.
So I could only have my hands stuck into certain amounts of
Yeah,
things
yeah.
because of the rules and regulations, protocols, etc. But over here, I just feel like, and you know what, I don't blame the kids, but I just think that the way life is going, the people tend to turn a blind eye to getting things done. They'd rather just scratch the surface, tick the box, and then move on to the next. So put bums on beds, so to speak.
Yeah.
So with the kids, the turnover rate can be so fast, thinking that it's productive, but nothing's really accomplished, making that specific child, that current individual, progress within. So he wouldn't necessarily be equipped with independent skills once he reaches 18.
Yeah.
But because he was present, showed face, and he was there, and he reaches 18, they'll brush him off and go somewhere else. So the kids know that they can get away with murder, so to speak. Not physical murder, but, it's a phrase. Get away with murder, level of speech, freedom, they can do whatever they want. So unfortunately, there's only so much you can do. So you want to try and make that limited time meaningful, but at the same time know that you can only reach out as much as you can. Otherwise, you become emotionally invested and it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
So then you take everything that's going on at work home and then you burn out.
All right. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If there's a 15-year-old kid right now who is just surrender. It's like I'm willing to listen to anyone who's
Yeah.
actually gonna tell me something that is good for me, that wants to help me. Who is, for example, you, because you are doing that. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're doing as a career.
Yeah.
That one kid is like, hey, look, I'm willing to listen to any advice you've got, that would make me a better person, who will get me prepared to when I do hit 18. What advice would you give them if there was
Change
more
the
than one?
environment. That's for starters.
Okay.
So if you're gonna spend time with him, don't seclude him to like a closed space or to his house or something.
Okay.
If you change,
I'm the 15-year-old
Yeah.
kid, right? I'm like, hey, JD, look, you know, I'm lost, just typical teenage problems. And I'm finally coming to you because I'm admitting this. I need to change. I'm willing to listen to any advice you've got.
Yeah.
What's the advice you got for me, JD?
well, you wanted 3, so I'm gonna give you 3.
Give me
right?
3. The more, the better.
Yeah, that change the environment,
Yeah.
right? Make him re-believe in his passions, because passions just invigorates the self-belief. And the third thing is music, sound, 100%. Incorporate music, because every day you can't have 2 hours to watch a movie or 1 hour to watch a series, but you can have 3 minutes to listen to a song.
Yeah.
And just by listening to any genre that tickles your fancy will just change the mindset, just bring a whole sense of happiness. That's
Yeah.
1, right? 2, if you make him relive his passions, remind him of what does he like to do? Is it just art? Does he want to hang, if he's living overseas, like over here, and he's from, let's just say, South Africa, if he hangs the South African flag on the wall,
Yeah.
and he wakes up every morning and he smiles and looks at that flag, opens his curtains, gets a bit of fresh air, has a drink of water, goes to the shower, comes back, all these small things in the room. Or maybe with the kids, I do this a lot. I buy them bonsai plants or bamboos, and I
Yeah.
teach them how to water it in the mornings, because that will give them a sense of responsibility and teach them how to nurture. It works with the girls a lot, because as a female, you're a natural nurturer.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care what anyone tells me. That's 100% truth. You know?
Yeah,
And as
definitely.
males, we love that as well.
Yeah.
So if you give them a passion to cling on to, every morning they wake up, they'll find a purpose to live. They'll find like just a sense of happiness, a sense of belonging, because that is something that they're going to keep and they look forward to. I'm 29, I still got flags on my wall. I still got posters, music posters. I got all these sorts because it brings me happiness. When I wake up, I look at that and I'm like, yes. And then I chuck on Spotify and play a playlist that I made the previous night, get the ball rolling, smile on my face, make sure my clothes are all ironed and go to work, you know?
Yeah.
But the first thing is the environment. So if you want to talk to him and then incorporate all these things, take him out of his comfort zone. Take him for a walk at the park or drive him somewhere. Get him something to eat. Some of the youngsters might not necessarily have 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day. But if you feed them a happy tummy, hey, my man, it does wonders. It just makes you want to listen. Look, we had Nando's. I showed you Nando's. Look at that. There we go. You see what I'm saying?
Look,
so we had Nando's.
We had Nando's today,
Yeah.
and this is something that I never knew.
Say it.
I
Say
never,
Say it.
Me and my South African friend here, we had Nando's, and I've been eating Nando's for as long as I can remember. Little did I know that it is from
Yeah.
drum roll,
Yeah, no.
South Africa.
There we go.
And
There we go.
I thought it was
Homebred.
from. And look, a lot of people would have known this,
Yeah.
but I didn't. And I'm here to admit it. But I didn't ever knew it was from South Africa.
Nah, it's good.
I think because the franchises that are here, they play a lot of it Mexican music.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
every time I walk in, I was like, man, they've
That's
got
the
some.
thing with franchise.
Yeah.
It loses it.
Yeah.
I think it gets diluted.
Yeah,
You see what
I was
I'm
like, I've never been, or probably have, but I never really, because I don't know what
Uh.
South African music sounds like in the first place. So every time I've been in one, I've noticed that they played Mexican music. So yeah, well there you go. This is a little fun fact for anyone who didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyone's in the same boat as I am.
Yeah.
Nando's is South African.
Yeah, exactly that. Put smiles
But-
on faces, my man.
but
That's
yes,
the best way.
for
Flame
sure.
grilled chicken.
And look, we are happy now because we are fed. We're lucky enough to be fed. So that's
Yeah.
that's amazing.
But
Three-
but those 3 things that I mentioned to you,
yeah,
it's important for a youngster, but everyone
yeah,
can utilize that, and
Yeah.
it works for everyone. Just sometimes change your environment, something different, right? And then bring a bit of passion back into your life, because we get so accustomed to the daily routines and we get overwhelmed. And we want to find happiness, but when we find happiness, we don't know how to sustain it because we are overwhelmed by all the stresses, all the things we need to do every time. Because it's a fast-paced world out
Yeah.
there. But if you just take a step back, get the basics done in life, like what I said throughout this chat that we had, just relive your passions and then have a bit of music at the end.
I love that because that's basically what I did, honestly. You know, in order to kind of feel happy again and to be proud to be where I was from, is I was talking to people that were doing things that I used to like. And even when on the show, I brought people that I grew up with. And we had conversations about like, oh man, remember when we were 8 years old, we did this? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We used to do that. That was hilarious. That was so fun. So that was one thing that I did, which is one of your advices. Another thing as well is, you know, having things that symbolize good times and symbolize, you know, where I'm from. Like everyone on my table here are from where I'm from, which is South Sudan. You know, the cover of this Vogue magazine is a South Sudanese model, same as this person on the chocolate block, and it goes on. So even that stuff like that encouraged me to kind of want to do stuff like this, you know, and feel happy when I wake up. I wake up, I walk past this room, and I'm very happy. And you know, the third thing obviously is making sure that I'm eating well. And you know, that is good because it helps you think well, and because whatever you eat,
even preparing your food is therapeutic.
So even that, and then obviously music. The music has been really helpful, and I think a lot of kids are. It doesn't help either with having the most dangerous genre of music to be around at this time, which is that UK grime music and that trap or whatever. So that is it's very challenging to try to fight that off because they're just making that such a big genre, and it's very there's that. Especially the UK grime, like all it is about knife crime and gang violence, and if you don't do this, then you're so-called, you know, a bitch or whatever. So I think kind of having your Spotify algorithm to change to listen. Even I listen to a lot of African music again. You know, and it's just all love and fun. Like I stopped listening to all that for a while. You know, I still do it for certain times, you know, but I'm trying to do some exercise.
We all go through phases.
Exactly. But, you know, my advice is someone wants to listen to me. I don't know if anyone wants to listen to more what I have to say. But, you know, listening to African music again made me, you know, it brought back memories of what it was like back home, you know. And even asked my mom about what songs that she liked growing up. And I listened to it. It's been really fun. So music, and music, is a part of us. We're Africans.
Definitely so.
You know, we live because of music. Like we dance. That's we dance because we could feel the music a different type of way than, you know, than anyone else. I guess I could say that proudly.
I know, 100%. Everyone will question that. Some people from South America might have different views. But stand to what you know, 100%. Or different rhythms, though.
Exactly, different rhythms, and just even that, just and because music does bring people together, and I think
100%.
By
100%.
you know, and just having people that love
sport,
good music,
food, those three things definitely. As South Africans, sport for sure. Sport, rugby and cricket. But you see all these things. You see, it's passions. It's things that's available, resources. And when we utilize it in the correct way, in the way it should be, you'll just see how beautiful society can be. There's so much positivity out there.
Oh man,
there is so much. I'll tell you now. Even when I finish with this and I walk outside, you can feel that happiness in the air. You know. But I think it's just sometimes we forget. We forget how beautiful life can be, and then we get distorted by the media or by what we read, what we hear. What people might perceive as us. We sometimes just take a step back. Just walk. Walk before you run to something.
And I love this, and even having this conversation and hearing what you have to say, it's just been so cool. It's been so fun. It's been so educational.
Thank you.
I've learned so much, and it's just something that we are going to have again. Like, we are going to sit down again.
Most definitely.
I can't wait to even work together. I would love to even, you know, because I do love, you know, I'm doing this because I really want to help younger siblings, my younger siblings, and I'm giving an understanding of where we're from and Africa in general. So that's something you know, I can't wait to do more stuff like you're doing, and hopefully, you know, eventually one day work with what you're doing or be a part of it.
Definitely.
So that
the more the
really
merrier.
cool.
The more the merrier.
But JD, honestly, this has been so fun.
Thank you, my man.
But before we end this, I believe that everyone's here for a purpose, and the way you were so passionate about, you know, you helping kids and you wanted to build an orphanage with your mum, you know, in South Africa. It feels like you know
little projects like that is good, you know?
It feels like you know what you are here to plant. And because the brand is called The Seed, you are a seed. And what do you think you are here to plant?
I'm here to plant something that everyone can incorporate in. That's for sure. I think I'm here to not try and make a mark as an individual, but make a mark to build a team.
Yeah.
Chemistry is so powerful because I can't be Superman and do everything on my own.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's my seed. That's the answer to your question. But everything in my sort of plans in life, even though it's at a slow pace, I'm learning as well. Bringing people together, like I said, the more the merrier. That's powerful. That's a seed in itself.
You relate to me so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
There we go.
Like, that's the reason why
in our past life we were brothers.
I reckon we are. And honestly, because like the reason why I wanted to have this platform is because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I knew that I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it with people all around.
Yeah.
And just talk to them and
Yeah.
at least be a part of bringing them somewhere or getting something that they really want out there somehow, or just teaching me something. And, that's what I like. I like just people, and I like just unwrapping people's story and leaving that as a mark. I think that's the seed I'm here to plant as well.
We
just
learn
like you
every
are.
day.
Yeah.
That seed will grow, my man.
For sure. And
Yeah.
and yours as well. And that's just been amazing. That's been a blessing sitting down with someone who's so like-minded. It's been so
For
fun,
sure.
man. It's been really good.
100%,
Had
brother.
a big day today. We had Nando's,
Yeah.
and now we had a big interview.
Exactly. Thank you, my man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Eddie, honestly, for
Yeah.
joining me. It's been a really, really great episode. And thank you for making this my double-digit episode.
Done deal. Sweet, brother. Thank you so much.
So thank you, guys. Enjoy. And thank you guys for listening this far. We are out.
Peace.